I love the way that you described the gap between your to-do list of the intentions of things that you want to do and your calendar, that there's these hard deadlines of things that you have to do. And bridging that gap is difficult. It's very easy when there's something on the calendar to like you have to do it. But with a to-do list, it's more amorphous. Of, okay, 2 hours of practicing React, you can do that whenever. It's very easy to let those to-dos slip. I think I've tried all of the to-do apps that you've tried and more. And what would inevitably happen is I would just fill the inbox with all the ideas and all the things that I wanted to do. And it would create this backlog where I was never actually churning through it, because it's so much easier to come up with new things and to just follow inspiring work and to be putting fires than it is to be intentionally, mindfully creating time for the things that you want to create. It's Jiminy Cricket sitting on your shoulder reminding you, hey, earlier today, you set aside time, you wanted to do this. I think this is really going to hit home for you. I'm excited to see what you do with it. This is a thing that I started off making for myself to solve the same problems it sounds like you're having of bridging that gap between your to-do list and your calendar. And I've been using it for the better part of the last 7 months. And
long time. Wow.
Yeah, it's just radically changed the way that I think about getting things done and the way that I'm scheduling things and integrating that with a GTD system. Oh man, it's been a game changer. I feel like I'm the best boss of myself I feel like I've ever been. One of the huge wins. I'll make this quick because I really want to get you in the product. I think you're gonna love it. One of the biggest wins that I've had is every morning I set my intentions for the day of what I can meaningfully do in every day, and I set it per hour. I can only schedule an hour's worth of work in each hour. So let's go through hour by hour through the day of like what I want to do. And then we're going to time track it. So I'll be able to see for yesterday, how to do yesterday and what is that. And it is so much harder for me to be managing myself now of like scheduling those hours. I'll be sitting there with this problem of, oh my God, I have 3 hours of work scheduled in this 1 hour. I can't do that. I've got to figure out how to solve this problem of, do I not do this thing, or do I outsource it, or do I schedule it for a later time? So the managing part is so much harder. But then, oh, Peter, while I'm living through it, it's just like a breeze, and I can be ahead of schedule. I can get an hour's worth of work done in like 45 minutes. I have an extra 15 minutes to do whatever I want with. And then I end the day just feeling great about myself. Of like, I did it. I did all of the things that I could reasonably have done today. I feel great. And I know that all these things are getting done because I have this managerial part of myself that's thinking at a different time scale. It's been life-changing. It's been fantastic.
Well, I know exactly the feeling you're talking about, feeling guilty at the end of the day, because I have this list of things that it would be a good idea for me to do. Because anybody who's running their own business, especially you and I are in a similar position where we're not just running one business with one thing to do. We're running a business and a bunch of side projects and some things that might become products but might not. We're not sure yet. So we've got all these fingers and all these pies. So there's literally a never-ending list of things that we could be doing that are legitimately productive things to be doing. So if we don't time block the day, at the end of the day, it's a given that we did not do everything that we would like to have done, because I've got 6 months worth of stuff I could do right now. And I almost feel like sometimes I punish myself. Like, and at the end of the day, I go, you know what? I can't go climbing, or I can't go for that run or that bike ride because I'm not happy with this day. I'm going to do a little more work instead. And it's never enough. And it's very rare. Yesterday actually was one of the very rare days where I got a couple of big checks in from clients. So I made a lot of money and I finished a project and I got a lot of work done on another project. Like, everything just hit. And at the end of the day, I sat back and went, wow, this is a rare feeling. I'm happy with my day. I'm going to go see if the kids want to watch a movie. And I'm okay with that. And it's a rare feeling, and it shouldn't be.
I would love to create that feeling for you every day. Okay, we're totally on the same page.
Time blocking in the way that you're describing, that to-do list isn't as hard scheduled as meetings in your calendar. And that works in both directions. So on the one hand, I could have too much in sitting in the back of my head that I literally could not accomplish. I could have 4 hours of work for the next hour and then feel terrible that I didn't do it. But on the other hand, also, I might work for an hour because that's what I scheduled out. And at the end of the hour, I might say, there were some unexpected problems here, and this is important to me. I'm going to go for another half an hour. But I can see, because I blocked it out, I'm pushing something else.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm still planning on finishing all this stuff, even though I'm going to give myself another half an hour on this one, and just magically somehow an extra half an hour of productivity will just show up. It's no, I recognize I'm bumping something else. So it has more flexibility than either a hard schedule or just that unrealistic to-do list.
I love that. Yeah, that being able to jump out of the worker mentality of just focusing on the thing right in front of you and being able to jump up to a manager and be like, okay, this thing is taking longer than we thought. That's a thing that can happen. Work can take longer than you thought it was going to take. That's a thing that happens a lot. So what needs to change in the system? What needs to change at this higher level?
It's a decision. It's not something that happens to you. It's a decision that has to be made.
Yep.
So without doing this blocking, the decision is being made by some invisible subconscious thing. And is it emotion? Is it momentum? It's much better if it's an actual decision.
Yep.
If I acknowledge that's a decision.
Yep. Yeah, and then make the decision instead of emotionally, instead of getting caught up in that or guilt, being able to make it as a manager.
Or sometimes it's literally what I enjoy more. It happened to me this morning. I was studying some coding stuff, some new Python stuff, and I enjoy it very much. And after that, I had to prepare invoices for clients, which I hate. So I ended up doing twice as much coding and not finishing those invoices. And looking back, of course, it's because I enjoy it more.
Yeah. I love that. Yes,
but,
same.
But it's not paying the bills.
Yeah. Fantastic. Let's get you in this product. If you could share your screen, there's a share button at the bottom of this window, and then head to midnight.app, and we'll get you going.
Ooh, I'm shared, and I have a very strange infinite window. Why is that?
Whoa.
Yeah, that way.
Make a new window or a new tab and go to midnight.app.
Okay. Midnight.app?
Yes, sir.
Okay, walk me through this a little bit.
Yes. So the main interface of this is that text box right there that says eating lunch 10 minutes ago. If you click on that, you type in the thing that you're doing right now. So right now, you're having a call with Christian. Love it. This is now counting the amount of time that we're on this call. You can also use relative times. So what was the thing that you were doing immediately before this call? You could say something like client work 1 hour ago or client work 4 p.m.
Literally, it'll parse the English 1 hour ago?
Yeah, that's right. And you can confirm that with the time on the left, just updated.
Nice.
Great. So you just did client work 1 hour ago. You can also schedule things in the future. So what's the very next thing that you need to do? Nice. And now that'll show you a countdown timer of the amount of time in the future.
Wow, it's counting down already.
Yep.
That is really nice. Oh, here it comes. It's coming up. This is how much time I have left. Exactly. Very nice.
This feature in particular is so nice for me. Like, I struggle so much with getting to places on time because that's a really difficult problem. You got to think about like how much time it takes to get there. But it's not, if Google Maps says 15 minutes, it's not going to take you 15 minutes from the moment you leave because you got to like go and find your shoes and you're going to lose your keys and you got to figure that out. And so this lets me work backwards of, okay, I want to be at this place at this time. It takes this long to get there, so let's walk back a step from that. It's going to take me this transition time. So I can go all the way down to, okay, I have 42 minutes left to do the thing I'm doing before I need to start getting ready. And that's just been a game changer. The cool feature of this, if you want to track cumulatively certain types of tasks. So for me, I like to track the amount of time every day that I spend on email. You can give them hashtags. And if you give them hashtags, it will add up all the time for all the different hashtags, and it'll show that at the bottom. Social waste. If you want to change the time that you set for that, you can click on that little clock icon to the right of 5:31 p.m. and that'll let you change that time. Cool.
And that is the same as the conference call. If I'm in that current block of time right now, then the counter is rolling.
That's correct. Yep. And if you, so just for demonstration purposes, can you add a hashtag to both that client work and the conference call of like hashtag work? Yep. So after you did that, you can see on the very bottom, work now has...
Can I export this? Because I bill based on time.
Oh, that's a great feature, Peter. That's a really good idea.
What? I would make the hashtag the actual client name, and then you can just you could just give me a download link for a CSV or just a page I can copy paste that has the tag and the duration just like this. I would want this line, client work, hashtag work, and the duration.
Yes.
I want those as individual items because in my bills, my invoices are detailed. Here's what I did. Here's how much time it took.
I'm thinking then there can be a page for each hashtag. And then if you just click on the hashtag, you can see line item all the events that had that hashtag, and then you can download that as a CSV. Is that what you want?
I love it. That's great. You click on a hashtag, and then you see a page with the info for that hashtag. That's great.
Cool. I'll make that happen.
Let me tell you one thing I love about it is I love that it's intelligent. I love products in general that do the right thing by being smart about what's happening and not asking for a lot of configuration, a lot of settings. So if it's in the future, it's a countdown. If it's in the past, it's a set duration. That is so smart. And the English language converting to times and durations, I love it. I just don't have to translate. I just type it in English and it figures it out.
That's great to hear. Awesome. Yes. Cool. That's why I built this. Oh, I'm so happy.
Okay. Now, what about, it looks like the best way to use this is just to real-time stream. When I do things or change what I'm doing, I just pop it in there. And when new things come up for later in the day, I just pop them in there.
Yes.
What if I go an hour and then I take a breather and go, oh, I didn't do what I was planning on doing. I got interrupted by these other things, but I want them in here. Is it easy enough? I just type them in with 10 minutes ago and it just does the right thing?
Yep, I do that all the time. I'll go off and forget that I did something, and then I'll be hanging out getting a snack instead of doing the thing that I thought I was going to be doing. And then just like the next time I'm at my time tracker, I'll reallocate and do the accounting on that.
So the main value in this to me is that it lets me look at what I did, and it also reminds me of what's coming up. So maybe the reminds me what's coming up is the more important or the more useful of the two. But also looking back and seeing what I spent my time on is useful. And in the past, I've tried keeping a journal of what I'm spending my time on, and in a bullet journal, having tracking your habits, that sort of thing. Never worked for me because it's too much paperwork. I don't want to spend my time fiddling with my bullet journal instead of actually doing things that need to get done. So this looks like it could help with that because it's so little effort. It's so little friction. So that's good. One thing that might be interesting is if I could page back through previous days and just take a look at what happened that day. I use Google Calendar and I logged into this with Google, so you'd be able to grab my calendar.
I could do that at the same time.
And I do the idea of showing it, but not copying them into my midnight.
Yep. Yeah, and then you get to consciously, intentionally choose, is this actually a thing I'm doing today based on the priorities I have? Yeah, I like that a lot. Oh man, I have 7 new features based on this conversation.
How does this look on the phone?
It looks beautiful. I use it on the phone primarily. You can use, do you have an Android or iOS?
I have iOS, and so let me see. Can I log into this?
Any of the updates you make are synced magically between the website and your phone.
Nice, very nice.
It's fun.
And the countdown timers are all running. They're all active. Very nice.
And a feature I'm working on is you'll be able to send a text message to midnight. So you can use Siri. Like, Siri, send a text to midnight that says, working on Brooklyn on site in 5 minutes, and it'll synchronize with the system.
Nice. That's something I could do while driving.
Yeah, exactly. Something that I do too, that's just a blast, is I bought these buttons that are called flick buttons, and I have them just like all over my space. And so like I have at my desk a little button that I push that starts. It looks like this, and I push it, and I have them all configured to be different things. I have one on the way out the door that when I push it a single time, it's like going for a walk. And then when I come back, I push it twice, and then it's eating is the thing that I do most often after I get back. One like by my bed when I go to bed, and one when I there's so many little buttons that I push, and it fills out half of my day just by pushing buttons.
I can see a little bit of your idea of the 3 hats in here. that having a manager mind separate from the worker mind, and that clears your head to make better decisions. I see a little bit in the concept.
Cool. That's great. Yeah, that's the intention, and that's how I find myself using it. Like, your manager sets the schedule, and the worker just needs to make sure, as part of his job, he's logging all the things he's doing, and then that gives the manager and the CEO the data that they need to be making longer term decisions. Something that this helped me with so much is quantifying the amount of time that I was burning on YouTube. I had this vague notion of, like, I'm spending a little too much time on YouTube, but I don't really want to think about that too much. And then tracking it, which, like, in the moment, the deal that I made with myself is spend as much time as you would like on YouTube. The only thing I ask is that we
track it.
Just no guilt, no shame. I just want to know, so I have the information. And then it got to the end of the week, and it was like, you spent 9 hours on YouTube last week.
Wow.
Like, holy shit, that is too much. That's too much time. Thank you for letting me know. I feel guilty, but, like, these are feelings that I can work through. And then next week, we can aim for a little lower. Let's talk about practical ways that I could do that. But just having the data was so valuable. It let me confront the dragon head on.
I'm curious, when you did that,
Yeah.
did you have a separate tag for YouTube for pleasure and YouTube actually something that you wanted to learn?
There's, like, automated trackers that sort of track the active application that you're using that I had tried, and that didn't really stick. And the reason that wasn't super useful for me is there is a distinction between when I'm working and I just happen to be on YouTube because I'm looking up a tutorial on React or something, and when I'm using YouTube as a distraction. When I use midnight to track that time, when I tag an event as that I'm watching YouTube, that means something very particular to me of, like, I'm using this as a distraction. I'm using this as a way to, like, decompress.
Got it.
I'm working, the active event going on at midnight is like I'm working on this project. And if
you wouldn't even tag it as YouTube.
That's still, I'm actively working. And if I find myself going down the rabbit hole of, okay, I started off watching this video for this technical concept. I've been watching this other video on Miley Cyrus for the last 6 minutes. Okay, let's update that at midnight. I stopped working, and now I'm watching YouTube.
That's where I get stuck. I'll go to YouTube because somebody has this interesting talk on. Here's one from 2 days ago. Somebody came out with a way to de-anonymize Bitcoin transactions. Fascinating.
Yeah.
And something I use. So I went and I watched his video, and over there on the corner, it was Jimmy Fallon saying something funny. I'm just going to click on that, and that's short. That's just 3 minutes. I'm just going to see what he said. Yeah. And then Aubrey Plaza did something, and
that's how they get you. Yeah, that exact same thing. Exactly how you described it happens to me. Yes. Processing through that and then able to make higher level decisions is, okay, I was working when I was watching the video on how to de-anonymize Bitcoin transactions. And then as soon as I started watching the video on Jimmy Fallon, that now became YouTube time. And that has helped me so much of being able to set goals of, I would like to be spending more time in these areas, and I would like to be spending less time in these areas. And I have the data now to be tracking how well I'm doing in that.